Have you ever heard of Britain's Roswell? In the dead of winter, December 1980, deep in the dark woods surrounding Royal Air Force Woodbridge in England, something happened that would forever be etched in UFO history. This isn't a campfire story or a scene from a movie. This is a real-life military incident, documented with multiple high-ranking witnesses and physical evidence that still baffles experts today. It all started on the morning after Christmas, December 26th. US. Air Force personnel stationed at the base noticed bizarre, colourful lights descending into the nearby Rendlesham Forest. At first, they thought it was a downed aircraft. The Cold War was still very much a reality, and a crashed Soviet spy plane was a real possibility. The deputy base commander, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, gave the order for a security patrol to investigate immediately. What they were about to find wasn't a plane, and it wasn't from any country on Earth. Leading the initial patrol was Staff Sergeant Jim Penniston. As his team pushed deeper into the dense, freezing forest, the air grew still and strangely electric. The woods, normally alive with the sounds of nature, were completely silent. Then they saw it. In a small, secluded clearing, hovering just above the ground, was a craft unlike anything they had ever seen. It was triangular, about 9 feet long and 7 feet high, made of a smooth, black, obsidian-like material. It gave off no sound, no heat, just a strange, almost palpable energy. The surface of the craft was covered in intricate markings, like hieroglyphs, that seemed to glow with a faint, internal blue and yellow light. Penniston, a trained security officer, cautiously approached. He ran his hand over the smooth, cool surface. He took detailed notes, sketching the craft and the strange symbols. Then, as he circled it, the object began to glow brighter. It lifted silently off the ground, maneuvered effortlessly through the thick canopy of trees, and then shot into the night sky at a speed that defied all known physics. It was gone in an instant. The entire encounter lasted only about 10 minutes, but for Penniston and his team, time seemed to stand still. When Penniston returned to the base, shaken but resolute, something even stranger occurred. He found himself compelled to write in his notebook. For nearly an hour, he unconsciously filled page after page with a series of ones and zeros. He had no idea what he was doing or why. It was only years later, with the help of a binary code expert, that the message was deciphered. The translation was cryptic and mind-bending. It spoke of exploration of humanity, a continuous mission for planetary advance, and gave a baffling origin point, year 8100. Could this have been a message from future humans, time travelers checking in on their own past? The story doesn't end there. Just 2 nights later, the lights were back. This time, Lieutenant Colonel Halt himself, skeptical but determined to get answers, led a larger team into the forest. And this time, he brought a tape recorder. This recording has since become one of the most famous pieces of evidence in UFO research. You can hear the sheer disbelief and rising panic in the voice of a career military officer as he witnesses the impossible. "I see it too. This is weird," Halt says on the tape. He describes the object moving through the trees, casting a strange red pulsing light. "It's coming this way. It's definitely coming this way." His team reports seeing a beam of light shoot down from the main object as if it were scanning the ground. Then another beam strikes near the base's weapons storage area, a site that housed tactical nuclear weapons. The implications were terrifying. On the tape, you can hear Halt and his men becoming increasingly agitated as they follow the lights. He describes one object as looking like an eye, winking at you. He orders his team to take radiation readings at the initial landing site from 2 nights before. The results were startling. The Geiger counter clicked frantically. showing radiation levels up to 10 times higher than normal background radiation. Concentrated in 3 distinct indentations on the forest floor, these depressions formed a perfect equilateral triangle, exactly where Peniston's team had seen the craft hovering. There were also burn marks and snapped branches on the surrounding trees, physical proof that something powerful and unknown had been there. Let's recap the evidence. We have multiple, highly credible witnesses, including a deputy base commander of a sensitive nuclear airbase. We have a nearly 20-minute audio recording of the event as it unfolded. We have physical trace evidence in the form of indentations in the ground and radiation hotspots. We have official military memos, written by Colonel Halt himself, documenting the strange events, and we have the mysterious binary code message received by Sergeant Peniston. Despite this mountain of evidence, the official explanation has been less than satisfying. The British Ministry of Defence initially investigated but concluded the events were of no defence significance. They suggested the lights were simply the beam from a nearby lighthouse. A lighthouse? Let's be serious. These were trained US Air Force observers, experts in identifying aircraft. They knew what a lighthouse beam looked like. And a lighthouse doesn't land in a forest, leave triangular indentations, emit radiation, and then shoot off into space. The witnesses, like Peniston, Halt, and dozens of others, have stuck to their stories for decades. They faced ridicule and skepticism, but their accounts have never wavered. Many believe their health problems later in life, including heart issues, are a direct result of the radiation they were exposed to in Rendlesham Forest. They risked their careers and their reputations to tell the world what they saw. So, what really happened in those dark, cold woods? The incident remains one of the most heavily documented and baffling cases on record. The binary code message hints at time travel, a concept straight out of science fiction, but one that physicists are still exploring. Were these visitors from our own future, as the origin year 8100 suggests? Or were they something else entirely? Extraterrestrials from a distant galaxy conducting a survey of our planet and its defenses? The Rendlesham Forest incident forces us to ask some profound questions. Are we alone in the universe? It seems increasingly unlikely. And perhaps more importantly, how much does our own government know? The case suggests that some truths are being actively suppressed, deemed too shocking for the public to handle. The men who were there know what they saw. And what they saw suggests that our reality is far more complex and mysterious than we could ever imagine. The truth, as they say, is out there. And sometimes it lands right in our own backyard. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's greatest mysteries. See you next time.